having Bollywood as a part of the showstopper game altogether has been there since before I started.
If you were to change one thing about the industry right now, what would it be? Hi, I'm Anushka, and you are watching First Look Unscripted. Today, I have a very special guest who is India's most favored bridal wear designers. Even bridesmaids love her designs, and she has dressed the leading ladies of Bollywood. Please welcome Mahima Mahajan.
Thank you.
I know that your label's designs are very well known and very well received for their feminine flair. They are statement making, they are contemporary.
Thank you.
Everybody loves it, every woman loves it. But how did you find your design philosophy and how did your journey start?
I think it's been quite a process in starting to design and finding and creating something new each time for us to reach a point where we can proudly call florals as our design philosophy.
Right, because you do see a lot of florals in the market, and I feel that I think not all florals are the same. They are not aesthetically a certain way.
Absolutely,
They are
yeah.
not received in the way I think the contemporary sensibilities
Yes.
these days, they want it in a certain way. And I think your designs strike that perfect chord. Have you observed any specific trend, whether it's a silhouette, whether it's a color palette, something you've probably seen in the recent during the recent wedding seasons?
I think it's just one thing that's just constant and that's always going to stay is that every woman wants to wear something that's flattering, something that suits their body type, something that calls them. I think be it a corset. I think I'm in love with corsets personally because it's such a strong contoured look to your body that you get while wearing a corset.
Right.
It kind of gives you a different kind of confidence. So yeah, and women nowadays are very confident and open about trying new styles. About I don't see that restriction anymore, wherein they would stick to particular colors or a
Right.
particular typical choli or a lehenga. They're more open to bralettes. They're more open to draped saris and corsets. So it's nice to see that change.
Right, but staying on the same topic, while there's of course creative fun in coming up with new designs for brides, I'm sure it gives you a lot of thrill to make these new incorporate these new elements. But at the same time, do you face any challenges while catering to these modern needs? Because of course, today's bride, unlike back in the day, is extremely influenced, whether it's by global media, whether it's by influencers, social media in general.
Right.
Do you ever find it challenging in any way?
I feel it's on the flip side, I think it's even better. I think people come to us and they're very clear in their head that this is what they want to wear, this is what they want to look like, this is exactly the kind of accessories they want to wear, and this is the theme of the wedding. So they're very, very clear, be it social influence or be it influencer influence, as you just said. People, I think, are very well aware of what they want, and it is exactly what they want. They don't want anything less. So I believe that this social influence is, in fact, a plus point.
Oh, that's wonderful. But has it ever happened that a bride or anybody has come to you with a certain inspiration, probably that they have gotten from media, and
Yeah.
probably that does not align with your design philosophy? Has it ever happened where you are dealing with creative differences when it comes to your own client, or has that never happened?
I think maybe back in the day it could have happened, but I just feel that there is no full stop to what designing might be. So I don't think there's any creative clash with the client, because if that's something they want, I'm here to give it.
Right.
I'm here to design. And you're right, people come here with influence, with with inspirations, be it Bollywood inspiration, be it any international inspiration, and they want to create their own version of it, and that's why we are sitting here. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun sitting and interacting with clients and delivering what they really want and putting it into life.
That's lovely. But today's Indian luxury market, especially, of course, like the way it's exponentially growing, it's a very proud thing for our country, because the craftsmanship is getting its due credit. But at the same time, something that we absolutely cannot ignore is the plagiarism market.
Okay.
And there's a big difference of how it from what it was before than what it is now, because earlier it was still a little slight, it was a
Yes.
little hidden.
Yes.
Now it's way more out there, like you just know that.
It is insane.
Exactly.
It is, and their reach is insane.
Yeah.
So, I have been affected by the plagiarism market to an extent that I know that there is this copy market, and then there is this copy market of the copy market. There is no end to it. You have an A class copy, then you have a slightly lesser category copy, and then you have the regular copies of everything. And how much can you help? How much can you register your designs, and how much can you control this? I think it's just come to an extent that it's so uncontrolled, and I feel that this market is bigger than our original fashion market. I think these guys, the kind of reach they have, the kind of money they make is way more than the original designers would be making.
But of course, at the end of the day, when you create something that is original to you, is there a part of you that also feels a little happy and proud that you see that, oh, somebody's seen what I've created and they like it to an extent where they want to reproduce it?
I think
Is it flattering a little?
it in a way, yes, but it is, like I said, the scale is so high.
Yeah.
The scale at which things are getting copied and sold in the black market, and I think it's just so high that the happiness quotient of it, or the flattery quotient of it is very low as compared to, it's a business at the end of the day, and the kind of money these guys are making is insane, and I really feel it should stop.
Another aspect of Indian fashion are the fashion shows. And earlier it was like, okay, the best of fashion shows are happening probably in Paris, probably in Milan. Today, thankfully, the best of couture is on the Indian runway, and it's a very proud thing for us. However, something that is quite noticeable in Indian runways is that you can see a lot of Bollywood celebrity faces on the runway. And yes, sometimes in a way it does help, because in India, people are they draw aspiration from seeing celebrities, right?
Yes.
But what is your take on it? Do you feel that it works for the better, or do you feel that giving that much spotlight to a certain face also takes away a little bit focus from the design itself?
I feel since the time this is having Bollywood as a part of the showstopper game altogether has been there since before I started. So it's nothing that has come in between my process of being a designer. It's something that we've grown up watching. It was back in the day when Manish started with his whole showstopper phenomenon. And of course, like everything, this has its pros and cons. And we are here to maintain the trend, follow the trend, and be a part of it. We like it or we don't like it, but yes, there is constant pressure. There is a constant need of having a face as your showstopper, no matter how beautiful your garment is. It kind of gets lost if you're the only designer who's not having a showstopper for whatever reason. So of course there is this pressure, and also I don't feel that it has more negatives than positives. I feel for that push, for that um, for that strong outfit to come out well, you do need a lot of attention, you need a lot of media, and you need it to reach the right audience. So why not? And it's a beautiful amalgamation, a beautiful mix of Bollywood and couture fashion. So we're here for each other. So I really have no problems with it.
So you think it's a harmonious collaboration?
Yeah.
If you were to change one thing about the industry right now, what would it be?
I think one thing that I would want to change and stop completely, put a big ban on, would be plagiarism. So yeah, that's one thing that the fashion industry does not deserve. And I think we all collectively need to get it stopped.
Coming back to the business aspect of your brand, you've been a part of fashion for a long time. But over the years, one thing that has rampantly also changed is the marketing aspect.
Yes.
It keeps changing.
Yes.
Like 5 years back, it would probably be a very strong imagery based campaign. But today it's a little different. Today there are videos, there are reels. You always need to feed the consumers something that will keep them hooked, that will
Yes.
keep the conversation going. Do you find it hard to keep up with? Do you think it's a good thing?
I find it fun. In fact, I am personally very, very involved in my own marketing since the beginning. And I've been very careful of what we do, where we do, what we follow, what we put up on the gram. And like you said, it's now maybe reels or the kind of videos. It's also client diaries. Sometimes an extensive shoot where you spend lakhs of rupees might not work as much as a basic client wearing your outfit and just twirling in it would do. So you never know what works on the gram. You never know what gets viral on the gram. It's us trying everything. And I think that's really, really important. And not
Yeah.
putting yourself in a box and saying that hum to yahi content dalenge. But in the end, interactive content, in the end, unboxing videos, reposting what your clients are wearing, because that gives some really, some clients get a lot of happiness out of it. They tag us and we proudly put them back on our page. And I think it's just a collective cycle that we are all working towards, and it's working. It's working for us and it's working for many, many brands. And I think that marketing, Instagram, TikTok, everything is made to help businesses. So why not maximize?
Absolutely. But looking back at your journey, which has been an amazing journey, is there something that you think you could have done differently? Anything?
No.
No regrets.
No regrets. In fact, I've been blessed to have the best team ever, to have met such wonderful people on the way. And I proudly tell everybody that when we started almost a decade back, I still have that bunch of people with me, and they are my core. And my first Master G, I'd like to add his name, Fahim. So he's now the general manager of my company.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
What
and I
a
think, like,
journey.
we all have just seamlessly, effortlessly done so many things together that when we sit together and we think and we talk and we just tell each other that we have come a long way from just two tailors and one Fahim to where we are now. It's just been so wonderful. I have no regrets and there's nothing I would want to change.
That's great. So this brings me to my last question. A lot of, as we spoke earlier also, there's a lot of influence out there. And I think a lot of brides, when they want to shop for their main wedding day looks or for the festivities, other events of the wedding, I think somewhere in between so many influences, people tend to get a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
As a designer, what would be your tip or advice to brides who are probably, on their journey of finding their personal style?
Giving a tip to somebody on their personal style would kill their personal style. So I would just say that, and that's something that I've been following myself ever since. You should just feel good, have the right feeling inside of you, no matter what you're wearing, no matter how expensive, whatever brands you're wearing or what you're putting up on the outer self. And I feel the main beauty, the main glow, the mood has to be set within and believe in the mood that they're carrying.
Right. Okay, Mahima. So we are all set for our last segment, which is rapid fire. And you know the rules. I will ask you questions and you answer with whatever comes to your mind first. Yeah? Okay. According to you, the ultimate cocktail night look.
I think a nice skimpy blouse and a sexy sari.
A ruffled sari, like a pre-draped sari, or a traditional 6 yard
Pre-draped.
pre-drape.
Easy.
And choose one. A voluminous lehenga or a classic anarkali.
A lehenga, a voluminous lehenga.
Okay. Zardozi or sequin work.
I think a mix of both.
The most stylish person you have designed for or dressed, dead or alive.
That I'm designed for.
Yes.
I think there's so many. I've dressed Kareena Kapoor, Bebo, then there's Katrina. There's so many really, really nice, fashionable Bollywood women. There's so many nice clients, some really fashionable clients. So sometimes we don't even know who we are designing for and who's picking up your garment, and then we get tagged on Instagram, and then we're like, oh wow, look at this woman. Look at how she's carrying the outfit. So yeah, I think some of them I know and some of them I don't even know.
Who would you say is your biggest style inspiration?
Um, I think my grandmothers, both actually. I'm very attached to my nani, and I've picked florals and my design language from her wardrobe actually. And my dadi ma is also a very stylish woman. And I've always seen a lot of style and a lot of fashion in my family. And I think these two women are somebody that I would say their fashion has always inspired me.
A trend that you absolutely dislike. Mm,
I really can't think of that. I don't dislike any trend.
okay. And if you had to live the rest of your life in one outfit, what would that be?
Track pants. I would just live in track pants and a loose t-shirt.
Yeah. Okay, I think that was about it. Thank you so much for this lovely
Thank you. This was
conversation.
fun.